We are here at the Combine. Wulf and EJ Smith for PHLY, and we have just heard from Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman. Let's break down, EJ, the most important things that we heard from them. And what's interesting is we spoke to them at length on Friday. So all of this was sort of in conjunction with that and in reference to that. What was your number one takeaway?
Yeah, first and foremost, I appreciated that we got so much time with them to sort of set the table going into the offseason.
Yeah.
So, I think that we've got a lot to get into here. But the number one thing I think is the movement that's happened surrounding A.J. Brown. And this
More
really
A.J. Brown. Oh, the Eagles aren't going to trade A.J. Brown.
Listen, this is
what are you talking about?
this is an opportunity for them to shape the narrative and to address it. We won't hear from Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni for about a month. But again, like this has been their chance to really either put it to bed or invite what I do think they have invited to a certain degree. What is the compensation in a potential AJ Brown trade? Howie Roseman today, the thing that's been interesting is that this morning, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni's comments come out about AJ Brown, whether they want him back, whether they expect him to be back, right? Howie Roseman gets on the podium at the Combine, and he has an opportunity to pour cold water on A.J. Brown trade speculation that has really picked up because of those comments coming out this morning. I don't think he did it. I think he actually talked about how how fun it is to field trade offers in the offseason,
Right.
how they have the opportunity to reshape the team.
He even poked fun at Nick, being like, well, I'm not the one who said I can't guarantee. That's the other guy.
He absolutely did. Yeah, he mentioned I mean, not to put words in Howie Roseman's mouth here, but kind of like the one comment that has gotten legs and people have run with. He said, I wasn't the one who said that. I think his messaging has been very tactful with this, but I do think it has not been definitive because he mentions, you don't want to, it's not addition by subtraction. You don't want to get rid of great players, but at the same time, like it's clear that if he gets a trade offer for AJ Brown, he's picking the phone up.
Well, the important context here for everybody who's upset about even discussing this or whatever it is that we are at the Combine. And what that means is that all of the league's decision makers are here. Howie is meeting and talking to the other GMs from the other teams, the agents around the league. And so what the Eagles have done is they have basically soft said, this is the week where if you want to talk about A.J. Brown, let's discuss it this week.
Yep.
And I think the Eagles will know by the end of this week whether or not they are going to trade A.J. Brown.
Right. Yeah.
If they get the indication that there is a market for him, that there is a market of teams willing to potentially give up to a future first, a late first, maybe it's 2 seconds or whatever it is their cost. Howie Roseman said they have a value for everybody on the roster.
Yeah.
Right? They go through that so that you can make calm decisions in calm times. And so that doesn't mean they're going to trade everybody,
right.
But there is a price that they would listen to for everybody. And so they will know this is the week. This is the week when Howie's going to be talking to everybody. They're going to find out if there's a market for AJ. And if not, then there's a good chance he'll just be back.
Yeah, and I think
that's not a bad result. That's
absolutely.
Great.
And I think that is indicative and illustrated in what Howie Roseman has said about the topic. And, we just got in this morning, but I'm certain as we are here in Indianapolis and we're talking to people around the league, they will be talking about and wondering about A.J. Brown. Again, I think that their comments are significant. I know that, we've talked about it a lot. I know it's like the number one takeaway is always A.J. Brown, but it's a huge deal. And again, I think that this has been an important couple of days for them to shape the narrative how they want to shape it.
This is an interesting period of time when we hear from Howie Roseman because it is the most obfuscation that he's ever going to have. He will not answer anything cleanly. I mean, you're talking about, I asked him if he wants Brandon Graham back. And even that, he's like, well, Brandon Graham's done a lot of great stuff for us over the years. It was really cool. He was able to play defensive tackle this year. He's always got a home, but that's not.
He's always got a place here.
He's even tepid about that. He's tepid about Jake Elliott. He's asked whether Jahad Campbell is expected to start this year, and even that, he's saying, well, we have a free agent in Nakobe Dean who's going to be available, and I can't necessarily commit to anything. He's a guy who has these great leadership abilities, and we drafted. So he's not closing the book on anything right now. And I think that is also important to keep in mind.
Yeah, and nor should he, right? I'm not saying that. I think Eagles fans get upset when you talk about these outlandish things that have a low percentage of actually happening. But who's to say they don't find a trade offer for Jahad Campbell that makes sense, and all of a sudden they want to re-sign Nakobe Dean? There are a lot of things. There's a lot of opportunities in the offseason. I think that is why Howie Roseman is so evasive up there. Because, some of those answers did surprise me. Well, not surprise me, but some of those answers, like especially the one on BG, it's like, even that you can't get a straight answer. But again, it makes sense for where they're at in the offseason.
Sirianni also wouldn't commit to BG, and even brought up Josh Sweat as the first person he could think of.
Which was, it's tough with Nick because you sometimes like want to attribute real meaning to
Yeah,
that. Like, oh,
I
is
know.
he talking about a guy who's on the way out? But I honestly am not sure if that's just, where his mind took him in that moment. So,
All right, so we have a podcast up from this morning with our full thoughts on the session we had with both of these guys last Friday. If you haven't seen that yet, please check that out. And we will be back tomorrow morning with more thoughts on what we heard today. We'll have some specific quotes for you and also maybe some rumblings from tonight out on the town in Indianapolis. But a couple other things to check the box on before we get going, EJ. Cooper DeJean, Howie Roseman gave you an interesting answer.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask him about whether he views Cooper DeJean's value as a nickel cornerback as, as much value as you could get from Cooper DeJean. And I thought it was interesting that he did mention outside corner and safety as places that he also, could bring value. He talked about how sticky he was in coverage at outside corner. He said there's not a lot of space when he plays at outside corner, but I think it was important that he talked about the value that Cooper DeJean brings from playing inside, being able to be a factor in the run game and being a versatile player. So as Cooper DeJean slowly approaches extension eligibility, I do think how Howie Roseman views his positionality is important because, top outside corners get paid a lot more than nickel cornerbacks. And I think that it's going to be an interesting discussion when it comes up. I think, my guess is that Cooper DeJean stays at nickel, and I think that Howie Roseman will see the value in it. I think his answer kind of hints at that being the case.
Essentially saying he is elite at this. We know he's elite at this.
Yep.
It matters to have someone who is elite at something. He could be elite on the outside, but we don't know that he's elite on the outside.
Right. Yeah. So I think my guess is that Cooper DeJean gets paid beyond just the nickel market when he comes up because of that versatility and the way that the team views him.
The other thing here, Nick Sirianni on the tush push. And, it's interesting because now, after all the acrimony last offseason, nobody really wants to ban the tush push anymore because the Eagles aren't as good at it anymore. And he said something interesting, which is, the onus is on us now to either get better at that or figure out something else to do. And you know what was interesting too? This goes to your Nick point where I am reading too much into it when he's just speaking extemporaneously. But he said on third down and in short yardage. And I know that it's like in the back of his mind, he's not thinking, I want to go for it on fourth down.
I mean, well, except for the times when he famously was playing for the fourth and short, as you so astutely pointed out. But yeah, no, I do think he mentioned that they have to do a better job with that play moving forward. And I think that it is ironic that the rest of the NFL has kind of taken the microscope out from this play because of the fact that Eagles struggled with it. I think it shows how silly it was last offseason. But yeah, there is not that level of scrutiny around the play this offseason.
And then last thing, just in my notes, Dallas Goedert, Howie also gave sort of a tepid, we love Dallas Goedert, but I think the truth here is, generally speaking, when a guy takes a pay cut, it's unlikely he's going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, this time last offseason, we probably would have also said that we didn't expect Dallas Goedert to be back. So,
do not put that in my mouth. I was screaming from the mountaintops, Dallas Goedert is going to be back.
Do not put that in my mouth. Yes, it is. Well, I at least did not expect him to be back last offseason.
Well, some of us see what's happening.
Okay.
We see into the future.
All right.
Others are just, following.
You have a good feel for these things. I'm not going to sit here and say that you don't.
Don't you put that in my mouth. Gross. And with that, we'll head out to go on the town.
What to say? I got nothing for you.
Please let us know what you thought of Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni's press conferences today, and join us tomorrow morning on the PHLY Eagles Show live here from the NFL Scouting Combine. We'll talk to you later.